Imagine a world where darkness overshadows light, where corruption and evil consume every corner of society. In such a time, one man's faith stands as a solitary beacon of hope. This is the story of Noah, the man who survived the end of the world through his unwavering trust in God. Today, we'll dive deep into Noah's journey, exploring the powerful lessons hidden within one of the Bible's most iconic tales. We'll look beyond just the story, reflecting on what it means to stand strong in faith and follow a divine path, even when the world around us is in chaos. The story of Noah begins with a world consumed by corruption and wickedness. In Genesis, we read about how human society had reached a moral low, with evil dominating the thoughts and actions of nearly everyone. Violence, deceit, and selfishness were rampant, and God's deep disappointment with humanity led him to regret creating man. But in the midst of this bleak scene, there was one individual who stood out: Noah. Noah's integrity and devotion to God set him apart from his contemporaries, making him a beacon of hope in a world overshadowed by darkness. This made him the recipient of God's favor, a rare and precious distinction in those times. Reflecting on Noah's story, we find that his example is highly relevant to our own world. While our society today may not be on the brink of a literal flood, it often feels flooded with challenges that test our principles. In a world where values can be compromised for convenience, power, or profit, Noah's steadfastness is a reminder that it is possible to live by a higher standard. Choosing integrity, kindness, and devotion to what is right, no matter how hard that may be, still sets us apart and, like Noah, can lead us to favor and purpose. Modern-day examples of standing for principles. Let's consider some modern examples of people who, like Noah, have chosen to stand by their principles even when it was unpopular. Whistleblowers in corporations. Imagine the employee who uncovers unethical practices within a major corporation. They face a choice: ignore it to keep their job secure or report it and risk retaliation. Like Noah, they choose to act with integrity, bringing the issue to light despite the potential personal cost. In doing so, they often inspire others and create lasting positive changes within their organizations. Community leaders fighting corruption. Across the globe, many local leaders have taken stands against corruption in their communities. They may face threats and ostracism, but their unwavering commitment to justice and accountability often brings transformative change. These leaders, standing alone at first, embody the spirit of Noah by promoting righteousness in places overcome by dishonesty and exploitation. Young people resisting peer pressure. In high schools and universities, young people are frequently pressured into activities that may conflict with their beliefs or principles. Those who stand firm against these pressures set a powerful example, showing that integrity is a strength, not a weakness. Like Noah, they serve as a beacon of resilience for their peers, proving that doing what's right is always a worthy pursuit. Each of these examples reminds us that while society may sometimes seem to drift away from fundamental values, individuals still have the power to stand firm. The story of Noah is not only a tale of survival but also a message of hope. His life encourages us to uphold our values and seek what is good, even when surrounded by darkness. In doing so, we contribute to a legacy of integrity that can transform the world, one act at a time. When God revealed his plan for judgment, he entrusted Noah with an extraordinary mission: to build an ark. This wasn't an ordinary task, it was a massive undertaking that required tremendous faith. Imagine being asked to construct a colossal vessel in a world that had never seen such a flood. Noah was called to believe in something he couldn't yet see, acting solely on his trust in God's word. God's instructions for the ark were remarkably detailed, specifying the type of wood, dimensions, and even the need for pitch to seal it inside and out. Every aspect of the ark's construction displayed divine wisdom and care, ensuring it would endure the coming storm. These precise instructions remind us of how God provides guidance in ways that often exceed our understanding, showing that He cares about every detail of our lives. Reflecting on Noah's faith in action, I'm reminded of how we, too, sometimes need to step into the unknown, relying on trust rather than certainty. Following a higher plan often means taking steps that seem impossible by human standards. Yet, it's in these moments of commitment that our faith grows, teaching us to trust that every detail has purpose, even if we can't see the full picture. Noah's obedience and willingness to act inspire us to follow our calling with courage, trusting that each step, no matter how daunting, is part of a greater design. Building the ark was more than physical labor for Noah. It was an act of unwavering faith. He faced constant ridicule and skepticism from his community, who couldn't understand his dedication to such an unusual mission. Yet Noah persevered, working day after day, not only as a builder but as a voice of warning and hope. He shared God's message, urging people to change their ways, even when they refused to listen. Noah's determination reminds me of people today who stand firm in their beliefs despite criticism. For instance, I remember a friend who chose to leave a successful career to serve others through charity work. Many questioned this choice, but he held to his convictions, eventually creating meaningful change and inspiring those around him. Stories like these illustrate how standing alone in one's beliefs, like Noah did, can lead to profound impact. It takes courage to hold fast in a world that often discourages it, but faith in action is what truly transforms lives, leaving a legacy. Gathering the animals was a divine miracle in itself. God instructed Noah to bring 2 of every kind of animal into the ark, and, rather than Noah going out to capture them, the animals came to him, guided by a divine instinct. It wasn't his efforts that brought them together, it was God's orchestration. This reminds us that when we faithfully follow God's will, He often provides in ways we could never imagine. I've seen this in my own life, where things seemed impossible, yet God made a way. For example, a close relative of mine faced a major financial crisis but trusted in God's provision. Out of the blue, an unexpected opportunity appeared, turning their situation around. It wasn't by their own doing but by divine guidance that their need was met. This story shows that when we align ourselves with God's plan, He brings the unexpected into our lives, sometimes in ways we cannot foresee, to fulfill His greater purpose. It's a reminder that we are never alone in our journey. God is always working. The flood that came upon the earth was unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed. Water poured from both the heavens and the earth, creating a terrifying spectacle that transformed the entire landscape. Cities, fields, and all life that had once flourished were wiped away. It was a vivid reminder of the power of God's judgment. Yet, amid the destruction, Noah and his family found protection and peace inside the ark. While the world outside was being undone, they were safe, surrounded by God's provision. This contrast between the devastation and the sanctuary inside the ark speaks to the strength of faith. I've often found that during life's storms, whether it's a personal struggle, a loss, or an unexpected challenge, the nature of faith is truly tested. Trusting in something unseen, like God's plan for us, can be difficult when the world feels chaotic. I've seen this in times of uncertainty, where holding on to faith feels like the only thing keeping us afloat. In those moments, faith doesn't mean the absence of fear or doubt, but the strength to keep trusting despite them. The story of Noah's faith shows us that even in the most turbulent times, if we remain steadfast and trust in God's promises, He provides a place of refuge. Our faith might not always shield us from the storm, but it gives us the strength to endure it. As the floodwaters receded and Noah and his family stepped out of the ark, they found themselves in a transformed world, one that had been cleansed and renewed. The earth was no longer the same, and the old ways had been washed away. In many ways, this was the beginning of a fresh start for humanity, and Noah's survival symbolized hope for the future. Noah's first act upon exiting the ark was to offer a sacrifice to God, an act of gratitude and worship. In response, God made a covenant with Noah, promising never again to destroy the earth with a flood. The rainbow became a symbol of this covenant, a visible reminder of God's faithfulness and His enduring promise. This moment of renewal reminds us that, in life, the end of one chapter often paves the way for the beginning of another. Just as Noah emerged from the ark into a new world, we too experience times of transition, where old challenges and struggles give way to new opportunities. It's a time for us to reflect on our journey, to thank God for His guidance, and to embrace the fresh purpose He's placing in our lives. For me, it's often in these moments of new beginnings that I see God's hand most clearly. The end of a difficult season might be the start of something transformative, one that requires faith, trust, and a renewed sense of purpose. Much like Noah, we are called to walk forward into the future with the assurance that God's promises are true, and that He will guide us through whatever comes next. The rainbow, which God set in the sky after the flood, stands as a powerful symbol of His mercy, faithfulness, and commitment to preserving life. It's a divine reminder that despite the darkness and destruction that may come, God's promises endure. Every time we see a rainbow, we are reminded of the covenant God made with Noah and all living creatures, not to destroy the earth by flood again. This promise is not just a historical event, but a continual message of hope and trust in God's unchanging nature. The rainbow's colors, each vibrant and distinct, serve as a reminder of the fullness and beauty of God's creation. It also speaks to His multifaceted character. He is just and righteous, but He is also loving and merciful. The rainbow is a visible sign that God does not forget His people, that even in times of trial, He remains true to His word. Reflecting on the rainbow, I'm reminded that God's promises are not limited by time or culture. They are universal, enduring through generations. His commitment to His people is not fleeting, it transcends the circumstances we face and the ages we live in. Whether we are living in times of peace or struggle, God's promises remain steadfast. This gives me great hope, knowing that His love and faithfulness are unchanging, and that He is always working, even when we don't see it. The rainbow, in its simple beauty, calls us to trust in His eternal promises. Noah's story is a profound lesson in faith, obedience, and trust in God. Despite the overwhelming darkness of his time, Noah chose to walk in God's ways, showing unwavering faith even when the world around him was filled with corruption and disbelief. His story reminds us that, in the midst of judgment and turmoil, there is always hope for those who remain faithful and obedient to God's commands. Noah's legacy challenges us to stand firm in our beliefs, even when society around us rejects or ridicules them. His obedience wasn't just about following God's instructions, but about trusting in a plan that was beyond human understanding. In a world that can sometimes feel broken and dark, Noah teaches us the power of making choices that align with a higher purpose, trusting that God's guidance leads to peace and protection. In our daily lives, we can apply Noah's lessons by embracing faith over fear. When faced with difficult decisions or the temptation to follow the crowd, we can choose to trust that God's plan is greater than anything we can see. Like Noah, we may have to make bold, countercultural choices, but these choices can have a lasting impact, both in our lives and the lives of others. Noah's life encourages us to walk by faith, live obediently, and trust that, through our actions, God can make a difference in a world that so desperately needs His light.
If this message resonates with you, hit that like button and let the universe know you're ready for your breakthrough. Subscribe to our channel for more transformative insights and guidance on your journey to abundance. Share this video with friends and family who need to hear this today. Let's amplify our positive energy together. Your engagement not only helps us grow but also strengthens the cosmic energy we are building as a community. Together, we can uplift each other and manifest our dreams into reality, one positive action at a time.